Hi, welcome to this session wherein we will be seeing the new feature of C++11, and that is the bind feature. So here we will be seeing what is this bind feature, why this bind feature arise, what is its necessity, and we will be seeing lots of programs for this bind feature. We will be also executing those programs on IDE, as well as I have shared the code for this bind feature. So you can also try at your end and execute it on the IDE. So let's see step by step. So moving to the next slide. What is this bind? So you can see here we have used this std scope resolution bind. You know, std represents a standard. So this bind is defined in this namespace, that is std. So that is the reason we have to give this scope resolution while using this bind, or you can simply write using namespace std semicolon, and then you can use this bind. Now let's see what is this bind. So in this C++11, we have the additional feature of this std scope resolution bind. So this feature is new in C++11. And now what is this std scope resolution bind? It is a standard function object and it acts as a functional adapter which will take input as function and it will return the new function object. So what does it mean? So you can see here we are saying it as a functional adapter, or it is a standard function object. So what input arguments is it takes? It takes the input argument as one function and it will return the new function object. So that all these things we will be understanding in ahead slides, wherein I have shown the example, and we will also understand its necessity also. So let's see how it takes the input argument as a function and why there is a requirement that it will give the output as a new function object. What is the requirement of that new function object? What is the purpose of it? So let's see. Let's understand this definition in depth by seeing the example below. So here you can see I am having this particular piece of code. So first of all, I have just shown the example, and we will also run lots of program on the IDE as well as we'll execute it. So first of all, you can see here we are having this function add_func, and it is accepting the two arguments, input arguments. So you know that the purpose of this function is what? Addition. By the name itself you can understand. So therefore what we are doing here in this function, we are adding the two input arguments a plus b. Okay, and then we are printing the result here. So first of all, in this main function, what we are doing, we are having this particular line of instruction. What is this line of instruction? Here we have used this bind function. So first of all, here you can see I have used this bind here. So I will be declaring using namespace std, so that you will be seeing the code syntax and all what namespace we have to use, that you will be seeing in the program itself on the ID, that when we'll be using the namespace std, then only we can call in this manner. Otherwise we can't call the bind function. So therefore this bind function we are calling, and what we are passing the input argument is, we are passing this particular function, and we are giving this next argument of this bind function is _1, and then next argument is 20. And then what this bind function is returning? It is returning new add function. This is one more type of the new function object. This is, so you can see here this new function object, and we are using this auto feature. So this auto is also one more new feature in C++11, wherein we know that when we use this auto keyword, then what it will do? So here when we use the auto keyword, we don't need to give the data type here of the variable. By the value itself, the value that is after the equal, the value which it gets, by that value only it will simply deduce what is the data type of this variable. So that this is a feature of the auto, and we have covered programs for it. We have seen it. So then we'll be seeing the features of that of this auto feature. Then first of all, this function which is there, new add function. So this new add function, this function itself. So since this bind is taking the input as this input function, and it is returning the new function by the name new_add func, and you can see here we are calling that function, and we are passing only one argument. wherein you can see here this function which is there, it is having input argument as 2 functions. So you can see how we have modified. We have taken the input argument of the bind function as a function having only, you can see this function is having 2 arguments. But while this bind function returns new functional object and we are passing only 1 argument to it, we are not passing the 2 argument to it. So what is this exactly? Why this is required? And then you will understand the definition of the bind feature of the C++11. So these things we will understand. Let's see first of all why this all things are required. First we will see that, and then we will come back to this program as well as the definition. So you can see here I have written the necessity of std scope resolution bind. So sometimes depending on the requirement of the function, we need to manipulate the function by giving them predefined arguments. So this will not make the function versatile, as every time the function will have that argument to be initialized with the same predefined value. And so it make easier. So as to make it easier, new feature was introduced in the C++11, and that is the std scope resolution bind. So let me explain you what does it mean, what is the necessity of this, and then we will come back to the previous slide. So first of all, the necessity is that, first of all, depending upon the output requirement, it happens that sometimes you have to give the predefined value to some arguments of your function. So suppose we are having a function which are having 3 arguments, and out of this 3 argument we want one argument to have the predefined value. That means we'll define some value in that function itself. So what will happen when the user call that function? User will pass only 2 arguments because one of the argument is predefined. User will not touch that. User will pass 2 arguments. So the rest 2 arguments will be initialized with that value, and other will be initialized. Other argument will be initialized with that predefined value. So every time when you call that function, every time that argument will be initialized with the predefined value. So what will happen? There you can see there is a no versatility of your function. Every time same argument will be initialized with that predefined value. You cannot modify your function. So in that case, you cannot manipulate your function. All the things will happen again and again. It will be predefined with that same argument, same value. So as to make the function versatile, so that you can manipulate your function, it happens that in future other requirement comes, then what will happen? Since you have already made your function which is only taking that argument that is with the predefined value you are initializing. So every time this same thing is happening, you cannot modify your function if some different change or change output requirement comes. So in that case you don't have the versatility. So how you will do? So first of all, so as to have the versatility of your function, so that you can manipulate your function anytime if there is a change in the requirement of your output. So for that case, this feature came, that is which feature? Std scope resolution bind. So this feature, what it does, it will give you the versatility. You can manipulate your function. So if you want one predefined value, if you want 2 predefined value, if you want no predefined value, anything, and if you want you want to manipulate the function depending upon swapping the arguments, that is you want actually to pass it in different manner, you want the position of the argument to be changed. So basically it provide you can manipulate your function. In this, what does this feature provides? It helps you to manipulate your function. It helps to provide the versatility to your function, so that if in future the output requirements comes that you want only one predefined, you want only 2, you can change. So the versatility it provides. So this is the main reason this feature came into arise. It will like the basic things which I told, that what happens when you give one predefined value, every time it will be working as same. Every time the argument will be initializing with the predefined value. There will not be a change actually. So versatility will not be achieved. So in order to achieve the versatility of your function, in order that you can manipulate your function in future depending if there is a change in the requirement, this feature came into arise. Now first of all, how this feature will provide the versatility? There are various terminologies which we'll be using for this feature. We'll be using the placeholders, and we will be also seeing what is this placeholders. So first of all, let's come back to this previous slide wherein I have covered this example. I've shown this example. So you can see this in bind function. How this facility is achieved. You can see input argument is what? This function. So which function is this? This function is accepting the two input arguments, right? So here you can see the next argument of this bind function. I'm passing _1. So what is this _1? So first of all, we will see the placeholders. With the help of the placeholders, we can achieve the versatility. We can see what we'll see in ahead slides. What is this placeholder? So this placeholder will say actually, first of all, how many arguments will, if you give here _1, if you instead of 20 you give here _2. So that means it will decide that this function will take the two arguments. If so, it was in this. So here you can see only _1 is there. So that is only one argument this particular function will take. The new function will take only this one argument. So this present function which is there, it is taking the two arguments. But since you can see here, we are having only _1. We are not. So what is the placeholders? They are represented by number _1, _2, _3. So here you can see the maximum of this number is _1. So this is 20. This is, you can see it's represented as a normal integer 20. We are not representing by any symbol _, nothing is there. So what you can see till _1, that means this new function which it will create, this bind function is creating new function by taking the input as a function, this function which is already defined, that one, and it is taking these two things. So this _1 is only present. That means only the new function will take only one function, one argument. So you can see here this new function which is there, the new add function, it is taking only 40. It is not taking two arguments. This. So how it has modified? So here itself. So this will decide actually. So this is _1. That means this particular bind function with the help of placeholders. So placeholders, we will be seeing what it is. So you can see here, just I have covered this also. So see. So this placeholder, first of all, what it is a namespace. So we have to use this namespace, and it is represented by _1, _2, _3. So we have to give underscore and then the particular number. So if there are three namespace present in your bind function, that means the new function which you want, it will be having the three arguments present. You have to pass the three arguments. New function in the sense the bind will return the new function object. So that function, when you call, you have to pass the three arguments. If you give the three of the placeholders in it, in that bind function while calling the bind function. So first of all, it also depends. Now in your this case, you can, if you see here this particular bind, so you can see this, it is taking the input as function, this function. So how many arguments are there in this function? Only two arguments. So also you have to take care that first of all there are two arguments. So how many names, so maximum how many placeholders should be present? Maximum it can take two placeholders, _1 and _2. It cannot take three placeholders because you are having only two arguments in this function. So first of all, here you can see I have taken only placeholder as _1. That means when you call this new function, you will pass only one argument to it. And what will be the other argument? Other argument will be replaced whatever value you give. Since I have given only _1, so therefore you can understand, since this function input, how much arguments are required? Two arguments are required. And first of all, the new function is taking only one argument when we call this function. So you have to fill the other arguments here. So here I have to fill one left argument which is there. That is this pending argument, that is with this value 20. And why this _1? In the sense means, you can see this sequence matters. So here I'm giving, after this function I'm giving _1. So that means whatever I give here _1. So that means first of all the function, when we call this new function, it will be replaced by this. First of all, this _1 means you will call this 40 will be present in this first argument actually of this function. So first of all, what it is doing, binding is doing, it will bind this function with a new functional object. So when you call this function, since it is already binded to this function, so here this function will be called, that is add _func, and you are giving 1 here. That means what input argument you pass here 40, it will be present at this position, that is at the first argument it will be present, and the whatever argument you pass after that, that will be, you can see the sequence, it matters. So here you are giving _1, that means you want actually this 40 to coming to be the first argument of this function, and then the next argument of the function will be replaced by 20. So finally what will happen when you call this function, the new function object? So since it's binded to this function, it will call this function and it will be replacing here. So here you're giving _1, so 40 will be passed as a first argument, a will be replaced by 40, and the next argument is 20, so b will be replaced by 20. So I hope so you understood actually what we are doing by this bind feature. So you can see here how we are so you can see here how versatility we are achieving. So since here you can see in this function add function, we are predefining the second argument as 20. So if you want, you can also modify actually, runtime also you can modify. So your function will be as it is. You can see here, this function is there, it is a, you are having 2 arguments. So since I have created the new function, I have binded this particular function with a new function object. So therefore, when I call these functions, depending upon this changes actually, we can simply predefine the values which are there. So we can call in that manner. For example, let me just show you. So for example, I've just written in the notepad how we can change. Now see here, first of all, you're calling this bind function, input argument is taking as this function actually. So this function first of all has the 2 arguments. Now how you can simply achieve the versatility of this function? So here in this case what we have done, we have simply written the _1. That means while calling the new function, maximum only 1 argument we can pass and the rest argument will be initialized by this. So this we are giving as a predefined value, that is 20. Now if I don't want actually this function to have the predefined value, that means 20. So how I can modify this? So just let me show you. I'm just commenting this line and I will modify this in this manner. I can modify in this manner. See here. What I will do here, I will pass here 10 and here I will not pass anything. So here's just a second. Yeah. So what you are doing here in this second, see this statement I have commented here in this manner. And you can see the next new. So what I'm doing, I have modified. How? So what I'm doing, I'm passing the input argument of this function. I want this function to have the versatility for which the output requirement that it can in future it can have a predefined value or it cannot have the predefined value. How many predefined values should have? All these versatility can happen with this function. So I have, that is the reason I have binded this function with a new function. And what I have given here, I can change here. So you can see here, I'm not giving any placeholders. So placeholders are what we have seen, it is represented by _1, _2, _3. So all these numbers is very much important. It will decide what will be the position also. _1, that means the first position it decides. So now here you see I'm not using any underscore. That means there are no placeholders present. Directly I'm giving 10, 20. That means if there are no placeholder present, that means this function, new function when I call actually, that means no placeholders. That means I don't want any argument to pass to the function. You can see I'm not passing any argument here. And I'm predefining the 2 values actually as 10 and 20. 2 arguments I'm predefining here. That means that is 10 and 20. These 2 of these arguments I want to predefine. So I have changed. In this first statement, what we was doing, we was predefining only the second argument 20. Okay, and we was passing here what? In the earlier case, we were passing some value here. Because since if _1 is used actually, that was, it was in this manner. If you see here. See here. Just a comment. Yeah. So what we was doing here in this case, now both of these lines are commented. Just I'm saying when you give _1, that means new function when you call, you have to give 1 argument to it actually 10. So you're giving 10. So while when the user call actually, user will give only 10. The other you have predefined to to some value, that is say here 20. Now in this next, so if I want actually to predefine, how you can see now how the versatility will be achieved. Now I'm not using the placeholder, I'm simply passing this. So this 2a and b I'm predefining. You are seeing I'm predefining with 10 and 20. So while calling this function, not passing anything. So you can also do like this. Let me just show you. Again, you can achieve the versatility. You can modify like in that manner, in this manner. So I'll again comment this. So what I will do here, see here, what I this all 4 lines I have commented actually, and I am executing these 2 lines actually. What it is now, wait, what I will do, I'll do like this, underscore 1, sorry, underscore 1, and I'll give underscore 2. So what does it means actually, and what I'll do here, while passing here, just a second, I'm passing here 10 and I'm passing here 20. So what I'm doing, I'm binding first of all this function. This function is accepting 2 arguments, and what I'm doing, I'm not predefining it to any value. I'm giving this placeholder underscore 1 underscore 2. So as I told you, first of all, depending upon the maximum number of placeholder, you can see maximum is underscore 2. That means there will be 2 input arguments when you call this new function. So I'm calling this new function and passing 2 values to it. So first of all, and also I cannot give underscore 3, because you have that placeholder number will be always not exceeding the number of arguments which are there in this function. There are 2 arguments, so it will be maximum 2 only we can use, and we cannot use exceed over that maximum value of this function. So you can see here 2 argument, underscore 1 underscore 2, that means 2 argument this new function will take, this new function 2 arguments. So I'm not I'm not predefining any value here. So when user will pass, user can give 11, any number, can change 30, 50, anything user want to pass. So you can see how we are achieving the versatility by just in this, while calling the bind function, by just changing these values, how much versatility I'm achieving actually. See, you can see this versatility I'm achieving. I'm calling this function, I'm passing with 10. I'm calling this function, not passing any type of any argument. Here I'm passing the 2 arguments in this function. So we are achieving the versatility of the function. We can manipulate actually. We can define, if we want one time to have that input argument to predefine to some value, then in the next case we don't want actually to predefine to some value, so we can change actually. So not every time it will be there that the function will be called, it will be defining to predefine. As long as if there is a change in the output requirement that you don't want any predefined value, then you can simply change in this manner. You can simply change in this manner. So you can see how I am achieving the versatility. So I hope so by this example, this is a good example, you understood what is the definition of your you will understand the definition of this bind function. So let's move on to the slide, and then you will understand in depth what is now we'll come to the first slide actually. Now what is this std bind? Now it will make you easier to understand. So in C++11 we have additional feature of this std scope resolution bind. Okay, now it is a standard function object and acts as a functional adapter. You can understand why we are calling it a function object, standard function, or why we are saying it is a functional adapter, because it is returning a new function object. You know, we have seen that it takes the input argument as a function and then it returns new function object. So that is the reason it is called as a functional adapter. And why adapter? Because you can change, you can modify actually your functional adapter. And so I have mentioned here, takes the input as a function and returns a new function object. So I hope so you understood the definition. Now moving to the next slide of it. So necessity, already I have explained you why this necessity came. So as to make the function versatile, you can manipulate your function. You can have one predefined value, you can have 2 predefined value. If you don't want any predefined value, you can modify that also. So that is the reason this particular feature came into account in C++11. Now, what is this bind? So this also you will understand since I told you what are the placeholders. So in std bind, with the help of, now just more in depth I have explained about this bind feature, std scope resolution bind with the help of placeholders. You can see, you have seen already what is this placeholders. It is this one. this underscore 1 actually you are seeing. You can see underscore 1, underscore 2. They are represented by this, by underscore and the numbers. So you can see maximum number is 2. That means 2 placeholders are there. So you can see it coming back. So with the help of the placeholders, it will manipulate the position and the number of the values to be used by the function. So position I will explain you, but the number of values you understood. See, here we are using underscore 1, underscore 2. Maximum is 2. That means when you call this new function, 2 arguments you are supposed to pass. You can see here, and we are calling this new function, you are passing 2 arguments. In earlier case, what happened? In the first case, we was passing only 1 underscore 1, no underscore 2. So only 1 argument we are supposed to pass. So you can see when we call this new function, we are passing only 1 argument. So you can see here in next case, I am not passed we are not using placeholder. So therefore, you can see here I am not passing any argument. So who decides actually in this new function how many arguments you have to pass? This placeholder decides. If there are no argument, then you have to not pass any argument. If there are if there are no placeholders, then you have to not pass any argument. And if there are placeholders, what is that maximum number of placeholder? That number of arguments you have to pass. So therefore, you can see with the help of placeholders, it will manipulate the position. Position will see, but this point you understood, I hope so. And the number of values. So number we have seen, if there are underscore 1, then only 1 argument you have to pass. Underscore 2, that means 2 argument you have to pass in your new function object. So this, with the help of this placeholder, it will manipulate, it will help the function to modify, will decide how many number of values, how many number of arguments will be passing to be used by the function. Now, what is this position? We will see ahead. In ahead slide, I have covered the program and I have also executed it. You will understand more better. So, and what will it will do? It will help to manipulate your function. You can see here depending on the output requirements. You can see how much important is this placeholder. So it will decide, first of all, with the help of this placeholder, it will help to manipulate the function. It will decide how many number of arguments you can pass to the function. Also, it will decide the position of the values. So that position we will see in the ahead slides. You will understand it more better. I have covered the example for it. Now, let's see what is the placeholder. So till now, I think so you got what is the placeholder. Just we will quickly see what it is. Placeholder, first of all, it is the namespace. You have to specify the namespace when we'll be using this placeholders. You have to give this namespace. Then it is represented by underscore 1, comma, or underscore 2, underscore 3. It is represented in this manner, etc. And what this placeholder it will do? It will direct the position of the value of the function. So first of all, this particular placeholder, it will also decide what will be the position of the value of the function. So this I have covered also the example for this placeholder. What is this position means? So now only we will be seeing that program, and you will understand it more better. So as I told you, you understood how many number of the arguments to be passed by the function. This placeholder will decide. And the second thing, also it will decide the positions of that value which you pass in the function. Now let us see this. Let us see the program for it so that you will understand more better. Just I have written the information so that when you access the code, this is the name of your program. Bind feature, I have dumped the code in that particular file. So first of all, I hope so if you want to execute your program, you need to install the codeblock IDE. It's very easy to install. Every information is written in the net. You just see it's simple step. Install your codeblock IDE and simply run it. Then you can see here I have I'll show you the program. Now I have already installed the codeblock IDE, and when I launch it, I have created the new project for my program. So you can do similar in that manner. I just explain you how to create a new project. Click on file, then new, and then project, and then we have to select console application. So here we have to click next, and then we have to select C++. When you give next, you have to give the name of your project and the folder wherein you want this program to be dumped, and then next. I have already created new project, so I'll not go with the further steps. One more thing, this is I have created a project for C++. Now you want your C++11 new feature to be working, right? In C++, it won't allow you to accept this bind function because all these features are new. it came in C++11. So it should be compatible with C++11. So for that, already I have explained. So there is a settings change required if you want the C++11 new feature to work in this C++ project. So what is that setting? Click on settings and then click on compiler. When you click on compiler, you just ensure actually this compiler settings are there. So you just ensure, you can see here checkbox is there and it is checked. So what is this? Have G++ follow the coming C++0x aka C++11. So wherever there is written C++11 here, you have to ensure that you have to check this box which is beside to that C++11. Then you have to go to the linker settings and you have to add other link option. You have to add these things -lw sock32 and in next line -lw s2 underscore 32. So these things you have to add in your settings before using this if you want your C++ features to work. Okay, now let us see what we will be doing. Okay, so if you see here, yes, so I have written here program wherein you can see the placeholder. What we were seeing, it directs the position of the value in the function. So what position it will be having, that it will decide. So let us see how. So first of all, you can see here, so here I have written a simple operation of addition, you can see. So here you have to declare these header files iostream, because we'll be using the cout, and then functional. Why this functional we are using? Because as I told you, this bind function, what it is a functional adapter, it is a functional object. So you have to give this header file as include functional, and then you have to use this namespace std, as well as you have to use this namespace placeholders, as we will be using the placeholders in a bind function. So all these things you have to do. And then finally I have written the main function here. This is my main function and the function which I will be binding. This is a function mat underscore op. So what this function will do, it's simple addition. This function will perform the addition. You can see it is taking 3 arguments, int a, int b, and int c. And here you can see we are adding this, we are performing some mathematical operations. We are adding, or it is this particular function is to perform the mathematical operations, addition, subtraction, and you can see it is taking 3 arguments, int a, int b, int c. And in this, I'm manipulating in this manner, a minus b plus c, and the whatever result we get, I'm collecting in this variable res, and I'm simply printing it here, cout. So now in main function, what I'm doing, I'm simply displaying one message, bind feature in C++11, and then you can see here, I'm having this variable new func is equal to bind. Now I'm calling the bind function, and what I'm passing the first argument as a function. What is this mat underscore op? It is this function. It is already defined, and it is here in the function is there are 3 arguments. Now let us see what we are doing here. So we are passing all these 3 arguments. The sequence is very much important after this function name, comma, this sequence. Now, first of all, we are this, you can understand underscore comes and then 1. This is a placeholder, you understood. So that means how many maximum placeholders are there? Only 1, you can see here, because this is 10. There are no underscore before it. There is no underscore. These are the values. But you are having only underscore 1. So you can understand when you use this bind function. So then you can understand when you use this bind function, the new function which comes, that is this one. So this function, new function, it will accept only when you call this new function, you will simply pass only 1 argument, because you have given maximum number of placeholder is only 1, and the rest of the values is predefined. So you can see the sequence. After this function name, you are giving underscore 1. So therefore, while calling this function, you have to pass 1 argument. So this will be replaced by that value. And then the next 2 values will be 10. Second argument will be 10 when you call, and the third will be 3. So this function will be replaced by First of all, when you call this function, actually, you can see here I've written here new function. I'm passing only one argument because I'm mentioning only here underscore one. Maximum number of placeholder. This is a placeholder is only one. So while calling this new function, I'm passing only one argument, that is, you can see here, and what value it is 20. So this will be 20. Okay, and the rest values of this function will be replaced. So this value will be 20 underscore 1, and this rest value will be replaced by these values which we are giving here. That is, second argument will be 10 and the third will be 3. So these are the predefined values. So I hope so you understood this. So when you call this function, so for what will be the output? So it will be, first will be 20, 10, second will be 10, and third will be 3. So 20, 10 and 3. So when you see here, 20 minus 10 is what? Actually 10. Plus C is what? 3. That means it should be 13. I hope so you understood this. Now again I'm using the auto keyword. So we know that what is the auto keyword. When you use the auto keyword, you don't need to mention the data type of the variable. By the value itself, it will deduce what will be the data type of this variable. Then so now again what I have done, I'm creating a new function object by calling the bind function. Now in this bind function, I'm passing the same function, that is mat op, and now what I'm doing, I'm passing the first argument. So this sequence is very much important, what you are doing here. So if I'm passing simply, and maximum of placeholder is only 1. So while calling this new function new underscore func 2, you have to pass only one argument. And first, what will be the sequence? How this function will be, input arguments will be initialized, the sequence matters. So here you want 20 first, then you want underscore 1. That means whatever user pass while calling this function, it will be replaced by that, and then the third will be 2 for that for third will be that mat underscore op. So therefore what it will be, so while calling this new function 2, actually it will be first 20 will be passed, then this will be replaced by this 5 and then 2. So therefore 25 and 2. So what will be there? 20 minus 5 is what? 15 plus 2 is what? 17. So when you simply, you can see how we have, now why I have given this example because what was the definition? The placeholder, it will direct the position of the value in the function. So first of all, it will direct the position of the value in the function. So you can see here this position actually, which is there, underscore 1. Here first of all, this underscore 1 I have used here as a first place actually. So therefore this underscore 1 will, that means this 20 will be replaced in the first argument of this function. Now the second time when I'm calling, this underscore 1 is present as a at the second position. You can see this is the first and this is second. So therefore this 5 which I will be calling, that is new func2 5, it will be coming in the second argument of this mat operation. So therefore this matters. It will direct the position. It will simply direct the position of the value in the function. So I hope so you understood this thing. So first, this particular, in first case, what we was doing, we are passing here actually, that is the value of we are passing here the placeholder we was using underscore 1, and after that function, after this function we are using underscore 1. So it was passed here. In second time when we create new functional adapter, we are passing in middle actually. So it will be coming here actually. This value will be replaced and other will be with the predefined values. You can see here. Other will be with predefined values. So I hope so you understood. Now let's run the program. For running, you have to click on build. First, you compile the current file. So you can see no errors are there. Then you simply build and run. Now you can see here 13 and 17. So what is this 13 and 17? So you can see here underscore 1, 10, 3. So what was this 20? So 20, 10 and 3. So what is this 20, 10 and 3? 20 minus 10 is 10. Plus 3 is what? 13. So what you got actually? You got first thing as 13. That is right. And second time what you are doing? You are second time what you are doing? 20 and then 5 and 2. 25 and 2. So therefore you can see here 20 minus 5 is what? 15. Okay, and 15 plus 2 is 17. So answer should be 17, 1, 7, 17. So I hope so you understood how this placeholders is very important. Actually, it will direct the position of the value. So in this function, actually, when you call, finally it is bind to this function itself. So depending upon where you are giving your placeholder, here I have given, actually when I'm calling the bind function, I'm giving the placeholder here. That is after just the function as a, there are 3 arguments because this function is accepting the 3 arguments. Now I'm giving here itself at the first argument. So this value, whatever, when I call this function, whatever value will be there, that will be simply replaced here. So here it will be coming, this value, it will be there. Now again, if I change second time when I give the placeholder, I'm giving in middle, actually, that is the second argument. So therefore it, when we call this function, will be, is binded to this function, therefore this b will be replaced. So you can see here one, depending upon where I write my _1, I've written _1 here as a first argument of this function. So it was the whatever value we pass, it got replaced here. Second time when I use _1, I'm writing in between these 2 arguments. That means as a second argument when of this function. So second argument of this function will be replaced by this _1. That is the value which you give here in this new func 2. So how it, so this will decide actually the position. So that is the reason it's saying placeholder direct the position of the value in the, whatever the position of the value. First it was this, then second time when we call, we gave _1 in between, that is we gave as a circle. So that will decide the position of the value in the function. So I hope so you understood this thing. So now just moving to the slide, we will see more. Yeah, so we will see the properties of the placeholders. There are 2 properties of the placeholder. We'll understand each property and we will also see the program and execute on the code block ID.